And the same crack team that the IG set up, I'm sure last 2-3 months, look at the syndicate they broke off, that of Boko Haram in Maiduguri, where they arrested a lot of young men that are mingling within the community. Nobody suspected them, but actually, due to their own diligence and they follow the small information that they gathered, fortunately, they arrested over 28 team leaders of the Boko Haram. And the same thing happened. Look at the kidnappers along Kaduna Road that they used to do on daily basis, actually. With just, I think, a Swift. The IG set up a new team, and they came up with a magic, and they cleared the road. Now everybody's plying the road freely, actually. And the same thing happened with the kidnappers in Zamfara and Kaduna, the Sokoto axis, actually. I am sure they've made a lot of progress. So based on that, I think the status quo should be maintained. With that, they're still preparing for the election. I'm sure they're giving the police a lot of lectures for them to undergo, to know what they're supposed to do during the polls at the polling station, or if there is any kind of breakdown of law and order, how they should react.
If I may comment, how does all these successes you've mentioned, how do they translate into peaceful elections in 2019?
Yeah, actually, that is if we can maintain the status quo. The IG has set up another team. I am sure the police are undergoing a lot of training now. It is not for us to tell people, actually, but we have an information that the police have been, they are undergoing a lot of training now on election process. What will they do at a polling unit? What is their responsibility? How will they tackle any problem? How will they look for reinforcement in case of any? How will they handle those people that are insisting they are not legitimate voters but they want to vote? How will you handle them? So all of these are lessons they're giving the police, and I'm sure they're working on it. And definitely the police are actually up and doing now, because they've expressed their willingness to come out and partner with INEC, support INEC, and give Nigerians free, fair, and credible elections. So I'm sure if they can partner peacefully and the status quo is maintained with the current situation, I'm sure we'll have a free, fair, credible, and very peaceful election in Nigeria, April, what do you call it, February 16th,
all right.
God willing. Yeah.
Let's look at some other reports that we had from the National Human Rights Commission. In 2015, this is what they said. They said 3 states, Lagos, Kaduna, and Rivers, in 2015, all recorded deaths in pre-election violence. What we saw in Lagos seems to suggest that is established. That seems to have established to a high level those hallmarks that we saw. But is that the case, if you will?
No, I think what happened in 2015 was different entirely, and I'm sure the police has now taken a lot of new strategy. They are going out with it, and especially Rivers, where even a DSP was killed with his own team. So it was unfortunate, but I'm sure this thing will not repeat itself, because the security agencies have done they've done a lot in order to curtail whatever it is that is actually going to happen in, 2019 election, especially around those areas, Rivers that you mentioned, especially Rivers, because Rivers is most of the time very volatile because of the nature of the situation in the area, because I don't know, maybe they are more desperate than other politicians or what, I don't know. But I am sure this time the police have made a lot of arrangements. They have a lot of equipment ready, from helicopters, a lot of new bulletproof vehicles that they are going to use, and a lot of equipment for them to conduct a lot of surveillance within the area. So to be honest with you, I am sure what happens in 2015 will not repeat itself in 2019.
Since you have that adequate knowledge about what transpired in the past in Rivers State, but in 2019, they may not likely be presenting a governorship candidate for Rivers State, for the APC. How does that come to you? Will that, to a large extent, quell violence? Perhaps we may not see what we saw in 2015?
No, actually, to not create violence. We are still confident the courts will still give us opportunity to present candidates in Rivers, not only Rivers and Zamfara, to be honest. So, because we are still confident that we will get justice in the court, but I am sure APC will participate in Rivers and the elections will be very peaceful, to be honest with you. I don't think I knew there are a lot of problems on the ground even now as we speak, because I think about 2-3 people were killed about last 2-3 weeks ago. But I am sure the police are still doing their best to make sure that they fish out those killers, to make sure that at least they brought any criminal to book to the best of their own ability. They don't have enough, but they are managing the little they have actually to give us results, so that at least we as citizens, we can go out, cast our votes, come back home peacefully and without any fear of any intimidation or any criminal sending us away from our polling units or disenfranchising us at the polling units. So I'm sure the situation is not the same. It will not remain the same.
No doubt. Nobody wants any form of violence. But let me get your thoughts. Do you support the change of commissioners of police in some states just before the general election? Because there are concerns that it hurts political parties and allegedly is thought to be a rigging process. What do you make of it?
Well, I don't want to say it's a rigging process, but it's an internal thing. If the police knows your weakness, maybe during the election you will not be up and doing, you will not implement the instructions given to you by IG in terms of providing security to the citizenry, the election materials, and INEC staff. So definitely you need to be changed, you need to be moved to where there's no much violence expected in those areas. So I don't think changing police commissioners is a kind of a rigging. I don't think so. So all I know is that it's a normal operational thing. Normally before elections they change police commissioners, they change AIGs, they swap them at least so that what they need maybe new blood, injecting blood into the system or bring in new ideas that can manage the security situation or maintain the tempo of providing security in the states. But actually, I don't think it's a part of a rigging or whatsoever. Part of rigging is elections are always rigged at the polling unit or at the collation centers or at the point of making announcement.
I'm afraid that's where we're going to have to let it go.
To make announcement.
My apologies for
make a wrong pronouncement.
My apologies for interrupting, but we must really go because of time. Bob Waziri is a community and crisis mediator, also a member of the chieftain of the APC from Adamawa State. Thank you so much indeed for talking to us. You're watching State of the Nation. When we return, Labour gives the federal government 23rd of January to submit agreement to the National Assembly. Stay with us.